Hello and welcome back to the Invisible Man channel with me, Stephen. I hope you're well. This is going to be a review of the Tottenham game. It's a few days late. I've been on a holiday in Ibiza with the family. Highly recommended. Great place. I've not been for years, but yeah, it was amazing. Watched the game with Asan from 9320, which was good fun. And yeah, had about a week there. Yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyable. So on to the game then. What were your thoughts on the starting 11? I don't like to look at starting 11s after the game's finished, because we can all pick holes in what may or may not have been the right strategy or the right selection. But my initial thoughts were that we should have gone with the same team that beat Wolves. I thought it would have been Bernardo, Reinders, and Nico G in midfield. I didn't see Shirky getting a start. But with him getting a start, I thought we looked light in midfield. I thought those two, whilst individually good players, I just don't think there's enough of them. I think there needed to be an extra one in there to give them a lift. Particularly as it worked well in the last game. I wanted to get Reinders close to goal. I didn't want him, just being in midfield. But I think with a team as well, you've got to look at the lack of Premier League experience. You go at Trafford, no Premier League experience really of note. Well, not successful Premier League experience anyway. Oscar Bob, clearly talented, but again, lack of experience. Cherky, what did he play? 20 minutes against Wolves. Then you got Marmouche, only been here, 7-8 months. Nico G, the same, not played a lot. And then Reinders, again, whilst it played well last week, there's a lack of Premier League experience in there. That's half the team. So it's half the team that might not be up to speed with the physicality. Never mind the poor pre-season, not the poor pre-season, the shortened pre-season we had. Maybe that had an effect as well on the physicality we displayed and the lack of communication. How many times did the ball bounce and Kudos or Richarlison steamed in there before us whilst we were standing around, wondering which player was going to get it. So yeah, I thought it was a bit too risky and no real need for it. I thought we just run it. We're struggling for form, aren't we, really? Towards the end of last season, drawing with Southampton, getting beat off Palace, played well against Wolves, just run it back, run it again. But we didn't do that. But nevertheless, I thought we played well. We created chances. We had the Marmouche left footer where it went across goal. Should he have scored? Shouldn't he? I don't know. I'm not going to get too bogged down with that one. But the one where Haaland plays him through, I think he's just got to score, hasn't he? It's as simple as that. The finish was a bit panicky, and we said watching it, just take a deep breath, boom, and then finish properly because it was pretty hectic. And then from there, it didn't go quite so well the rest of the first half, did it? Sky did a good analysis of their first goal and the risks we're taking playing high line offside. Now, I think Carragher hammed it up a bit, to be honest with you, calling it an obsession with offside. But I think his general point stands, and I've been up and down with this over the last since the Wolves game. Actually, what's the risk versus the reward? Just run after Richarlison. Just run after him, and there's very little chance he's going to control it and cross it. And who's at the back post? Brennan Johnson, who I unfortunately predicted on last week's video that he would score at the back post. So that's unfortunate. And I've seen people blaming Rico Lewis for not getting back in time. Brendan Johnson's a whippet. What if he's past you? I think he's past you. So I'm not going to. And maybe his positioning, Lewis could have been better, but I'm not too worried about that. If you start defending at the halfway line, things like that are going to happen. Now, obviously, there are benefits to doing that, but when it goes slightly wrong, like a little slip or something of that nature, or the other team are perfect in their build-up, their cross, then the team is going to look a little bit silly. But that's the price on the ticket. We played that way for about 10 years. Pellegrini was playing that way. So I'm not saying we shouldn't play offside. I'm thinking at certain points of the game, things aren't going great. Just run after him, finish it off, and then finish the move off, take the ball off him, and then we can build up again. So yeah, like I said, you can probably tell I'm a bit up and down as to whether we should be playing this high offside line, but yeah, I think there's certain times in game when it's appropriate, and other times when it's not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know is the honest answer. But I think we just need to see how it goes over the next few weeks because it's obviously very difficult games to come. But yeah, and then approaching half time, where do Spurs want the ball? Do they want it in our half or their half? I think they want it in our half, don't they? So Trafford, I mean, I was very knee jerky on him on Saturday and going into Sunday, but I think the point stands. I think to play in net, you've got to be experienced. You've got to have a presence, and it looks like his shirt doesn't fit and his gloves don't fit. And Henri was pointing out on the analysis yesterday on Monday Night Football, he's not involved. He's not involved as much as Ederson would be. And I think after his mistake, then I don't think our players wanted him involved, quite frankly. It does seem a bit, it seems a problem with this guy in net. Now, if you want to play a 20-year-old, 22-year-old goalkeeper in net, that's fine, right? I've not got a problem with that. Just if you want to play with a 22-year-old striker up front, United bought Sheshko and, people of that nature, but they take time to bed in. So I think we're going to have to do that, aren't we? If we don't get Donnarumma, then we're just going to have to wait for this guy to bed in. And I don't know if he's capable. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I don't think we'll be challenging if he stays in net full time this season at least. But I hope I'm wrong. But the pass was it was catastrophic. It was catastrophic, wasn't it? Really, you don't want to be doing that on your debut. I mean, what was he thinking? Now Henri again was pointing out they didn't even look to go along to Haaland, didn't look to chip it to Oscar Bob. The pass wasn't on. And again, so at high risk, high reward. I didn't see much of a reward in trying that, but it was very high risk. And as it proved, it all sort of unravelled after that. But again, that's not to say we didn't create chances after that into the second half. Haaland lays it off to Shirky. That's got to be a goal. Haaland's got to do better there. Haaland had at least one header, maybe two that should have gone in. I think definitely one. But yeah, it could have gone the other way. I don't want to sit here and be negative or a hater or whatever internet terms people want to use. But yeah, I'm semi-optimistic despite the result, but also it can go the other way pretty quickly, I think. We've got Brighton next, away. I think our record's decent there, but we've always got to work for it. And I know we got beat there last year, but again, we could have been 4-0 at half time in that game. So I'm not too concerned. I thought we were very good away at Wolves, so we can play like that away at Brighton. But if it does go wrong, then it's United at home after that. And our record to United at home is pretty patchy. And then all of a sudden you're 4 games in. And listen, it's not the end of the world. I don't want to say it's the end of the world. Tottenham beat us before and we've gone on to win the league. So I don't want to be, overly negative. But what are we trying to do? Can this team win the league? I think so. I think we've got the goals in us to win it. I think Aït-Nouri, I thought he was excellent, and I think we struggled when he went off. So I think we need to get him back. But yeah, it's a bit of a muddle at the moment, isn't it? You're only 2 games in; it's hard to make judgments. So I'm not going to judge anything at this stage. We've got to look, 5, 10 games perhaps. But Liverpool scored at the death and won. A few drop points here and there, and you can find yourself behind pretty quickly. And I know we've got a history of chasing teams down, so again, I'm not too concerned. But it's what it's going to do to the confidence of the players. Because a lot of these players are new. We don't have Vincent Kompany, Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Aguero. We've got some experience, don't get me wrong. Haaland, Foden, Rodgers, and it's great to see Rodgers and Foden coming back. But with with Mamouche, Cherky, Bob, Aït-Nouri to a lesser degree, he's a Premier League experience, but not at the top end of it. Diaz's form's up and down. A goalkeeper who he might be replaced after the Brentford games, after the Brighton games. So, what's his confidence going to be like going into that Brighton game? So, I think there's a lot of positives to take, and a lot of not negative, just mild concerns. That's how I describe it, mild concerns. The offside trap, great when it works, isn't when it doesn't, but that's how it is. We all know that. But the keeper's distribution, whether it's Trafford or Donnarumma, that needs work. Harlan needs to get involved a little bit more and learn to head it, because, well, that's at least 2 goals he should have scored with his head this season already, and he's missed them both. I don't really think. Did anyone get on target? I can't remember. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, yeah, I think that needs to improve. Although his all-round game is improving, but just do more of it, Mamouche, I've got no concerns about him. I liked him last season. I like him a lot. But he needs to know where the net is. He needs to know where the net is, and he needs to finish that against Tottenham. But yeah, again, definite positives with Rodri and Foden coming back. So let's see how it goes over the next few weeks. Get to Brighton, put this Spurs game behind us, and move on, because, well, yeah, we need to quickly. So and we'll just touch on transfers before we go. Donnarumma, goodness me, I know they're haggling, but we're basically saying to Trafford, you play against Tottenham. You made a mistake, but you're going to play against Brighton anyway. But we've got someone in who's better than you, who we think's better than you coming in. Now, he probably is, isn't he? Treble winner. But what does it do to the confidence of the player? Does it help? I'm not sure. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Or maybe it does might make a blind bit of difference. Who knows? But I think we need that. That needs organising quickly. The transfer window ends Monday evening in England. I mean, what is it now? Wednesday afternoon. What? Get on with it. You can argue about a few million here and there, and with Galatasaray and all the rest of it, but all 3 parties need to get around the table and get this going, because PSG don't want the guy. They're booting him out the door and said, you're not in our squad at all this season. We've said we want you, and with Edison at Galatasaray, they want him. He doesn't want to stay anymore by the looks of things. So can we not just organise this? Because there is like I said in the last video, there's a cost of doing and a cost of not doing. And the cost of not doing Donnarumma before the Brighton game, although it looks unlikely now anyway, could be another high-profile error. And then if you keep us making a high-profile error, then we have very little bargaining in terms of Donnarumma. They'll say, your guy's no good, you need to cough up for our guy. Or, United or Chelsea come steaming in, and that's still in the back of my head for them to come steaming in, because they cannot be happy with their goalkeeping options. They simply can't. And Savio and Rodrigo. Rodrigo was off when I got home from holiday yesterday, but I had a quick Google search. Then that doesn't seem to be stood up. But if we can sell Savio for a good whack, and then we upgrade the level, don't we? Quite easily, I think that's quite obvious what that sort of player does. Whether Savio he improves to go beyond Rodrigo at some unidentified point of his career, then maybe he does. But for 70 million quid, I'd let Tottenham take that risk, and then we get the plug and play Brazilian international and say, off you go and do the business. And then that maybe free up Mamouche to play somewhere else. You've got Bob as well. So yeah, I think that forward line would look strong under those circumstances. But can I just say something on Tottenham before I go? Because I was really impressed with them actually. I really like their manager. He is very much what's the word I'm looking for? He's not an idealist, is he? He's more of a is a strategist. You know, who we playing, how do we play, and he will raise the floor of Tottenham dramatically. You know, there's not going to be any vum with them, as far as I can tell. I think it's going to be top six comfortably. They're going to be a good cup team, I expect. Be interesting to see how he manages the Champions League though, because he's never done that, certainly at a high level anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how they get on, because I thought they were good yesterday. Yesterday on Saturday. Richarlison in particular, I don't really rate him very highly, but I thought he was a handful. I thought he just ran us all over, and that kudos as well. I thought they were really good. I thought we played well. In parts, they played well, and they were just a bit better than us, weren't they? In key moments, all of the chances we had, we could have scored. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they get on this season. Up next for us is Brighton away. I'll do a review on that on Friday afternoon, I think. Preview of that on Friday afternoon, I think. After Pep's comments, and give it as long as we can for the transfers before I start giving opinions on potential team sheets and whatever. So yeah, thanks for joining again. Please like, subscribe, and add your comments below. And if you've got any feedback is greatly appreciated. And I will see you on Friday. Take care.